Welcome back, everybody.
Yo.
Junior,
What's going on,
What's
Mr.
going on,
Milton?
brother? Episode
Uncle
27 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. We are sponsored by Fightback CBD. Get 15% off your CBD order at fightbackcbd.com with code JJD. We're also sponsored by Warbar. Get 25% off any of their hygiene products with code JJD at warbarsoap.com. All right, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share wherever you're watching or listening. We appreciate the feedback as always. My name is Milton Campus. I am a purple belt out of Fight Sports Coral Springs. You can check me out on Instagram at Uncle Milty BJJ. My podcast partner today is this handsome devil over here.
Thank you,
That
man.
beard-
Holy
the beard is
smokes.
looking phenomenal, brother.
Thanks, I appreciate that, bro. But I know
You
you're
might not
lying.
be able to get out of the studio
I
today.
know you're man, I know you're lying because off camera he just crushed my ego.
It could use a little.
man.
It could use a little trim. It could use a little trim. How you doing, brother?
It's great to see you, brother.
Give him the intro. Name, rank, and serial number.
My name is Junior. I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt with Felipe and Sofia Morante out of Fight Sports Coral Springs.
Hey, we got that down. Nobody screwed it up and said out of Fight
Finally.
Back.
It's been long enough, bro.
You know, I did one episode where I actually said that Milton Campus Fight Back Coral Springs.
We need to talk to Justin then about that sponsoring.
Right? Yeah. Right. So today, listen. Let's start out with this. We got a lot of things going on. As always, I wanted to take a second to thank everyone who's donated to our GoFundMe for the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Foundation. We've actually raised over $3,000 now
That is
today.
awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been incredible. It's amazing. Bo and I were just talking about it before we got on, and it's very appreciative and thankful to everyone. We're going to be awarding the second youth scholarship on this episode today, so don't go
Fantastic.
anywhere.
Stay tuned to the end, right?
Yeah, could be you. All right. We wanted to remind you that we've been partnering with one of our sponsors, Flow and Roll. So for every $50 you donate, you're going to receive either a foundation mug, this guy right here, right, or an embroidered belt. Seeing that right in front of Junior. You can get a ranked belt with your name embroidered on it. Okay, so for every $50, you can get a perk or a gift. If you donate 100, it's two gifts. If you donate 153, and so on.
Limited characters or what? Like Mr. Fantastic, super villain of the.
Our friend
gym.
over at High Road BJJ asked for his to be Super Dave, and then it had High Road BJJ on it, I believe. Yeah. Did you see the picture online?
That was pretty cool.
So yeah, we can go a little bit. It's supposed to be the name. Like, we don't want to kill Sean over there, like writing a whole a paragraph on a belt. But he's been awesome. And, he gave us the idea to do the perk, and it's worked out really well.
Awesome.
We've raised some money. And look, we've even raised money, and people like, just don't send me anything. Don't waste the money. Put it towards...
Better reason to not even watch your belt, because your name is on there now. Man.
So, yeah, he's got every belt, juvenile through adult. To be very clear, again, the more you donate, the more perks you can get, okay? You can donate to our GoFundMe. Just go to GoFundMe and search Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, or click the link in the description wherever you're watching. We always keep that updated. It's GoFundMe.com/F/Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. That's the actual link. All right, and again, special thank you to Dave Kaidash. Am I saying his name right?
That's Dave.
You know him
yeah.
better
Super
than I
Dave,
do.
Yeah.
I'm getting to know him. He's an awesome guy. He's what's the name of the gym? It's High Road BJJ is also the name of the gym. So we got him at High Road BJJ on Instagram, and also at High Road Revolution on IG.
That's correct. And then also wall to wall martial arts.
That's also his.
That's where they train out of.
Okay.
Out of that gym, but the actual team name.
And where is it? It's in Virginia.
It is Richmond. Man, Dave's gonna kill me.
That's okay. That's okay. And look, at High Road BJJ and at High Road Revolution, their mantra is "Do a good deed."
That's it.
Fits right in with us. Hey, look, just by
Exactly.
coincidence, you see it up on the logo there, Bo. You got that one on behind Junior.
I actually met Dave before we started talking about partnering up with the organization We Defy.
Okay.
Right? And I ended up finding out that
He was
Dave
on the
sits
board.
on the board.
Yeah.
Correct. And I happened to be in Virginia several months out of the year, and Dave opened up the doors for me to come and train with him, and it's been fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Really good dude. He's. I don't think I need to go into the numbers on exactly what people have donated. I don't know if they want to keep any of that private, but he's donated more than once. And he's been awesome. And again, he's one of the guys who was like, hey, send me one belt. He's definitely donated more that he could get a few more things. So we sent him by the time this airs, he'll have gotten his rash guard. The mug should have arrived, and his belt is on the way. So we gave him a couple of perks.
And, he lives at mantra, do a good deed. He lives at mantra. And, it's not, he doesn't give donations for the shout outs, right? Yeah. That's not the type of person he is. Yeah. He goes way above and beyond that.
He's amazing. I'm so happy to have met him, and who knows where this goes. This is, we started a podcast, then we started a foundation. I think you guys all looked at me like I had 5 heads. Like, what the hell is this?
Go with the flow, man. Just go with the flow.
And it's been working. So big shout out again, and thank you to Dave. We're also gonna say thank you to Justin at Fight Back CBD. He did, I was interviewing him on air. I did one of the podcasts by myself with Justin, via Zoom. And he's looking down at his phone. I couldn't figure out, does he realize we're recording? And then he looks up and he starts talking, and all of a sudden, and I get a little alert on my phone. He sent us $1,500.
Man, that's amazing.
So that's amazing. Right? So again, we're our goal over the short term is 5K. Before we kind of figure out what we're going to do next, but that 5K should give us. With what the kids are paying for their schools, we might actually be at 5K be able to do probably 3.
That's awesome.
3. So we're going to announce number 2 today.
Fantastic.
All right. We're also going to be giving away a couple of bottles of Fight Back CBD today. It's going to go to our podcast patrons, though. So we're going to pick a couple of podcast patrons, and that's really it. Okay,
fantastic,
so there's my intro today. So we're going to take just a quick break. We're going to cut. You guys are probably not even going to see it, but we're going to get our guest on, and then we're going to come right back at you guys. Okay, so just give us a sec.
Woo. Coming at you.
All right, everybody, we're back. That was quick. Joining us today, we have founder, executive director, and board president of Tap Cancer Out. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. His name is John Thomas. Welcome, John.
All right, John.
Thank you for having me. Applause not necessary.
So we appreciate you being on. Sorry for being late. I always have to apologize for being late.
All good.
So let's dive right in with, I think a lot of people in our world know or have heard of the organization. But let's start out with a little bit of your background with jiu-jitsu first. Let's go there. How did you get started in jiu-jitsu? How, why, where? Give us the rundown.
Yeah, so I've always, played sports throughout my whole life. I played high school and collegiate volleyball. But after college, it was increasingly harder and harder to play sort of at a high level unless you were traveling all around. I'm in Connecticut, so I would travel around New England for tournaments, but it's kind of hard. You got to get 6 or 7 very specific guys who play very specific positions. And, so it was getting more difficult to compete. And so I was really looking, so I was going to the gym and like doing, the typical lifting sort of stuff, but that's pretty lonely as well. I wanted to find a sport that would help keep me in shape, but also if I wanted to compete, I didn't need anyone else, like specific teammates or anything to technically be there. But I still wanted a team atmosphere. So that's sort of a very specific thing to look for in a sport. And I was also sort of a budding UFC fan and, would watch all of them. So I loved MMA. I had no aspirations of doing MMA, but I liked that type of workout. So I, did some research and thought about, like Muay Thai or jiu-jitsu and just randomly chose a jiu-jitsu school. In 2008, there weren't a ton around here in Connecticut. So it was sort of either a 30-minute drive north, 30-minute drive south. So I just picked North, a school called Ultimate MMA in North Haven, Connecticut, and walked in and sort of signed up right there on the spot. It wasn't anything glamorous at the time. It was, in sort of a warehouse garage type place. And no AC or anything. It was brutally hot in that August.
Old school.
But I was in. I was like, this is what I want. This is absolutely what I want. So I jumped in and never looked back. I never, other than this very big training break right now, I never really missed time. Never took long, didn't have the blue belt blues and disappear or anything. I just kept going 2 to 3 times a week. Was never anything, crazy, but sort of consistently went. And no major injuries, and 10 years later, I got my black belt, and now I'm 2 years into my black belt. So,
are you still at the same school? Are you training with the same people that you started with?
I switched to American Top Team, also in Connecticut. It was a little more gi focused, so I ended up going there. Ultimate MMA was unsurprisingly sort of more MMA, no gi type stuff. It was a good school, great teammates there, but eventually switched to just focus on the gi. It was a little more my style. I was doing a lot more IBJJF tournaments and things like that. So, I've been at American Top Team for I think the last eight to 9 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so the majority of your time is spent there. Is that where you got your black belt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. And you mentioned the tournaments. Do you still now part of, and I might be getting ahead of ourselves here, but part of what you guys do is you're raising money through tournaments, right? Let's let's not step on this. So let's talk about how Tap Cancer Out came about, if you can.
Sure.
Why did this start? I've read about it. I'd love to hear it from you, though.
It was a windy road. I certainly never had any aspirations of founding a nonprofit. I was in marketing and advertising for quite some time. Thought that I would sort of be a career marketer. And in 2010, I went out to San Diego. One of my friends had founded a company out there called Classy.org. They have fundraising software specifically for nonprofits. So like GoFundMe, but specifically for, you have to be a nonprofit to use their software. And they were hosting an award ceremony called the Classy Awards. And it's pretty cool because there wasn't anything that was celebrating the people who were really changing the world in the way that we celebrate actors or musicians. So this was sort of the Tonys, the Grammys, the Oscars, but for the nonprofit world, for the volunteers, the nonprofit leaders, and the people who left very lucrative careers to like build schools in Tanzania and things like that. So I went, not really knowing what to expect. I just wanted to support my friends. San Diego sounds really fun. It was a black tie event, so we got really dressed up, and I was listening to all these people speak about their experiences and how grateful they were to be winning these awards, and sort of got uncomfortable with myself because it was, very obvious to me at that moment that not only was I not doing anything on the level of these individuals, but I wasn't doing anything, period, to make the world a better place. I was just sort of existing and going to work and training jiu-jitsu, and that was it. In 2006, I lost my nephew to leukemia. He was diagnosed at 3 months and passed away at 8 months. So that was really difficult for us. I remember how helpless I felt during that time, especially right at the end. And sort of like, I was completely useless in that whole process. And so that was still resonating in my mind. In that seat at the Classy Award. So I told myself, before I leave, I'm going to figure out something. I'm going to come up with an idea. And before I left those seats, I said I'm going to combine my passion for jiu-jitsu with my hatred for cancer. And I would call it Tap Cancer Out, and I had no idea what it would be or what that meant. But I knew I was just going to try to figure it out. And I knew the jiu-jitsu community was a misunderstood community. Had a lot of preconceived notions that are totally wrong, and I wanted to show the world what the jiu-jitsu community could actually do. It was obviously, I could see that the sport was growing very quickly, that tournaments, everyone I go to would get bigger and bigger and bigger, but there was no philanthropic presence. So maybe that was sort of a niche that I could fill. And I told my friend Pat on the way to the airport the next day, and he was totally on board. He was our first board member, and I was sort of off and running. I told my wife, she loved the idea, and we just started to try to figure it out. And we had a lot of failures and stops and starts. And would we be an apparel brand? Would we just like go to tournaments and have a table and like hope people donate to us? Like what does it mean to be a jiu-jitsu nonprofit? We didn't know. But so it took a long time to figure that out. We went through all of the legal requirements that we would have to do. And even that was difficult because you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants and you have to make budgets that go for 3 years. And I didn't know what was going to happen this year. How do I know what's going to happen in 3 years? I had to build a board and do all that stuff. So we did a lot of things. We went to like an MMA show. We drove 3 hours. We famously sold 2 T-shirts the whole night and got $6 in donations. It was like this epic failure. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't what we're going to do. And that's what forced me to dive deeper, specifically into the jiu-jitsu community. It was actually difficult to partner with tournaments. They just wanted us to pay the vendor booth fee like everyone else does. And, we didn't have any money. We can do that. And that seemed kind of against the point. So my instructor, Luigi Mondelli, he said, why don't you just host your own tournament? Forget trying to like go to these tournaments. Just host your own tournament. I've done tournaments before. I'll help you. I have like scoreboards and I know referees. And he's like, I'll do everything that I can to help you. And so I said, okay. So this was in 2012. So from idea conception in 2010 to our first event, it took us 2 years to even figure out what the model was. Mm-hmm. But I had done a half marathon with my wife with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It's called Team in Training. And basically, we both committed to raising $1,000 for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And in return, they buy your entry to the half marathon. They get you a hotel the night before. They host this dinner the night before for all the fundraisers. So you sort of get all these quote unquote perks for fundraising. So why couldn't I apply that model to jiu-jitsu, especially because it's such a cost prohibitive sport? As I said, I played volleyball back in the day, and if we had a tournament, it would be basically $20 a guy, and you're playing for like 9 hours straight. With jiu-jitsu, it could be $100, and you could stand around for 3 hours and then get tapped in 5 seconds. And it was just like the complete opposite ROI that you'd see in other sports. So, let's try to use this opportunity and use this model to make not only tournaments more affordable or free for people, but also give them other perks like merchandise and things from our partners. And so ultimately we created a tiered structure of fundraising perks. So depending on how much you raised, you might be leaving the tournament, not only have competed for free, but with a backpack full of Tap Cancer Out gear, gi, fundraiser t-shirt, hoodies, rash guards, all sorts of stuff. So regardless of what happened on the mat, win or lose, you still leave with all this, awesome swag and feeling like you made an impact. So we tested that out in the spring of 2012 in Connecticut. We found it was even hard to find venues. It was hard to find a partner. We partnered with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in our first 2 years. But we found a local high school. We borrowed their wrestling mats. We taped it off with painter's tape. Like everything was pretty down and dirty. I hand wrote the brackets the day of. It was not the best way to host a tournament, but we learned and got better, and we're always trying to optimize. But it was way more successful than I thought it would be. And so we sort of found a business model. And then from there, we just started hosting more events in more places.
So how does that work? Let's talk about, you mentioned how competitors raise money. Can you talk a little bit about that? Can you explain that to people that don't know?
Sure, yeah. So for quite some time, really the only event format and our biggest event format is tournaments. We do have others that we can talk about, but our tournaments are sort of the keystone to what we do. Our whole tournament website is actually hosted on the fundraising platform. So when you land on a tournament page, it's custom designed to suit all of our needs because there's a lot of jiu-jitsu specific info you need there. You need to get to the weight classes, you need schedules and like all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But when you register, you're actually registering on a fundraising platform. You have the option, you don't have to fundraise. You can just pay for a registration just like you would at NAGA or IBJJF, and then go on with your merry way, show up at the tournament, have fun, maybe buy a t-shirt or something and leave. That's totally fine. But you also have the option to register for free. And that is basically committing to fundraising. Everyone, no matter what ticket type you choose, a fundraiser or non, everyone's going to get a fundraising page. It's going to be automatically set up for you. It's going to have, a place for you to put your picture, a place for you to tell your story and how cancer has affected you. You can upload video and pictures and things like that and really customize it to suit your needs. It's all attached to the tournament itself. You can even set up team fundraising pages as well. So your individual page and my teammates' individual page will also credit an American Top Team page. Mm-hmm. We reward the top fundraising team, the top individual fundraiser, and the top children's fundraiser. And then you just, once you register, you're just going to start fundraising. As long as you've raised $250, you compete for free. And then the more you raise, the more stuff you get. $400 is an exclusive fundraiser tee that can't be bought. It's got to be earned. $600, it's a hoodie or a rash guard. $1,000, it's one of our backpacks. $2,000, it's a gi. And actually this year, we released a $10,000 perk because we had people who were raising not only over $10,000, but one child, our top fundraiser ever, Cody Alessi, raised $20,000 last year alone by himself. Awesome. So I felt like a free gi at $2,000 is not enough. He already had the gis and he had every gi that we released. So we needed to figure out something cool. So at $10,000, if you raise that in a year, we send you to a jiu-jitsu retreat in Mexico. It's through a program called BJJ in Paradise. We'll be there. And so anyways, we have that tiered structure. If you are a paid competitor, you're still going to get a fundraising page as well. Mm-hmm. And you can give it a try. You can share it on, put it in your Instagram bio, share it on Facebook. If you raise $250, we refund your entry fee. So even if you start off sort of unsure and you use a paid ticket, you can still try fundraising. It's completely risk-free. You're already paid up anyways. Mm-hmm. If you raise $250, you're getting that money back. So
it's a win-win. It's a win-win for everybody.
About half of our competitors will fundraise and half won't. The average fundraiser raises almost $500. The average donation is about $50. So you only need about 5 people to donate to hit that $250 mark. And then the more, the merrier. So it's sort of a pretty simple structure. And then we just try to reach as many people as we can. So the mission statement of Tap Cancer Out is to mobilize and empower the jiu-jitsu community to raise awareness and funds for cancer fighting organizations. We have 9 beneficiaries now, but our vision is to give every grappler the opportunity to fight for those in the fight of their lives. So that means we need to continually not only go to new markets, but find ways that allow people around the world to take part in what we do. Obviously, tournaments are a very location-specific thing. Thus far, if you live in Seattle, it's going to be really hard for you to get to a Tap Cancer Out tournament so far. But we're sort of pushing westward as much as we can. The schedule this year, which was obviously decimated by COVID, but our schedule this year had 24 tournaments, all in I think 21 different states. So
with that,
we were getting out there.
With that being said, obviously we're going to have to talk about COVID when we're talking about this type of your type of organization and the way you raise money. What is going on right now? What have you had to change? Are people still actively fundraising? I would assume so, but how are you guys handling this pandemic?
Yeah, so it was pretty scary at first. I mean, I actually went to Vegas to celebrate early my 40th birthday, which was in June, but we went the first week of March. We left like March 3rd.
Right before everything kicked off.
Right before it. It was like the news was picking up, and literally the flight out there felt very different than the flight back. The flight back was way more tense, and you just didn't want to go near anybody. It was just a very bizarre feeling. And then, within days, we had our Connecticut tournament March 28th, scheduled for March 28th, and within days of us returning from Vegas, we had to cancel it. It just obviously wasn't safe. We moved it to August. That got canceled as well. So ultimately, we had a spring tour scheduled in May and June, and then our fall tour, which is September, October, and a little bit of November. All of those tournaments got canceled. Us being not only a nonprofit organization, but one that is health-based and health-focused, we simply can't take any risks whatsoever.
So no tournaments, no tournaments.
No tournaments in that sense, because then it's not only indoors, but it's hundreds of people. If you have kids, you got to let not only their parents, but their brothers and sisters come because mom can't get a babysitter. And crowd control is very, very difficult. So, in the beginning, it was very hectic around here. A lot of board calls, a lot of trying to project what we were going to be able to do. At first, it seemed like, the Connecticut tournament would be our only casualty, but we were fingers crossed we could do our spring tournament, and then obviously we would do the fall stuff, and then it was like, actually, we're not going to be able to do any of this spring stuff, but we still got the fall, so we'll be good. Then it was, okay, we're not going to be able to do any tournaments this year.
Wow.
But it also forced us to look at other parts of the business. Our tournaments are, obviously are driving revenue force for us, which makes it easy for us to sort of put other things in the back burner. One thing in the nonprofit world is monthly recurring donations. So there's a lot of nonprofits who will set up basically a monthly subscription donation process. So you're donating $30 a month to your favorite nonprofit, and it's monthly and it's predictable, and the nonprofit knows it's coming. But that might raise $50 a person. It would be great if we got like 50 people involved, but that's still only a couple thousand a month. Whereas I can host a tournament and raise anywhere from 50,000 to 300,000. So it was easy for me to push that to the back burner. We had always wanted to do an ambassador program, and we had to figure out what that meant and how to define that for Tap Cancer Out versus like a for-profit apparel brand. Mm-hmm. We had put that on the back burner. So without any events, we were like, okay, let's try to, focus on these things that we have neglected for quite some time, and let's get going on them right now. So we set up our recurring giving program. It's called The Podium. And my goal was 50 people in the first month, and we had it within 2 weeks. And it was, not only friends and family, like my parents and sister, but also, dedicated competitors and fundraisers, and other people who I have absolutely no idea who they are or where they come from. So, it spans a great deal of individuals who want to support us on that specific level in a way that is supporting the organization specifically. So their funds are directed at the infrastructure of Tap Cancer Out. We have 3 employees here, myself, my wife, and another one, Dave. Our health insurance is through this company. Our livelihood is through this company. So we had to survive. We did all of the payroll protection stuff and applying for loans. And, we obviously handled our business there. But we had to figure out how to pivot and how to adjust. So we launched the ambassador program as well, which has been fantastic. We have over 60 ambassadors now. So anytime we launch an event or drop a new merchandise item, we have all of these people promoting it for us, and they get discount codes and welcome kits and all sorts of stuff. And they've just been so supportive because they give to us way more than they receive. You don't want to be a Tap Cancer Out ambassador if you're just looking to get free stuff. Like these people go above and beyond to support us, and so that has allowed us. That was really the fuel for us starting Global Grappling Day. So this was an idea that literally came to me on the Peloton, which is the only way that I've been able to work out in the last 6 months, 8 months. But we've always been looking for a way that we could have some sort of quote unquote event, but that everyone in the world can take part. We have had grapple-thons, which are sort of volunteer-hosted events. So people in Canada and the UK and stuff, when they've asked how they can help, and we've told them about the grapple-thon model, it's basically a glorified open mat at their school. Some people fundraise, some people just buy raffle tickets and that sort of stuff. And it raises a few $1,000s, but like, how do we do that for the world? And a lot of nonprofits are switching their events nowadays to virtual. So what does a virtual 5K look like? It's like, okay, we're not all going to get together on this specific road and run next to each other, but just run 5 kilometers around your neighborhood. It's the same thing. You can still fundraise. And so but what's the jiu-jitsu equivalent of that? You can't jiu-jitsu alone, but we have to be concerned about safety. So we don't want people having these open mats at their school. So what is the equivalent? And that's where we came up with Global Grappling Day. Mm-hmm. So it's December 12th. It's you get one partner on one day, and you roll 1 hour straight. So you set the round timer for 60 minutes and you go. Now, do you flow for the first 20 minutes? Of course. But I'm not saying go ham.
You haven't met Junior, but you never rolled with Junior. He doesn't have a flow button.
There's no flow. Yeah. Very few people are good at flow. They usually just go. But yeah, so this is a way, people can fundraise from the moment they sign up all the way till that day. They get the same perks, actually more perks than they would at a tournament. But they can do it safely. And whether you have a school where you can do that and sort of reserve an hour block on that day to do it, or you're doing it in your living room or your garage or your backyard, you're only doing it with one other person. So you're not switching partners like you would, in a typical 60-minute, open mat or whatever. So it's a sort of a safer alternative, but still allows all of us to get together. And we seeded that with our ambassadors. We asked them to set up their pages, which they did. And so when we launched it, we already had, 30, 40 people have fundraising pages set up, and it skyrocketed. It was super successful right from the start. We just a few days ago passed the $50,000 mark. Our goal is $100,000. I actually think we're going to crush that. I just don't know where it's going to land. So I'm just going to wait till we pass that goal until I reset the goal. But the response has been incredible. People from all around the world have registered. And, we're now sort of trying to adjust and help them, not only learn how to fundraise. A lot of people have never taken part in sort of a Tap Cancer Out event like this. So we're helping them learn the best ways of fundraising, but also trying to figure out what they should do on the day. Should we ask them to live stream? This is new for us too. This is the first time we're doing it. So we're really excited about that. So that's like the global thing that everyone can take part in. And we're still hosting our sub-only showcases. We had one in Connecticut in August that raised an astounding $50,000, where we'd never had a showcase fundraise more than $15,000.
And what is the showcase? What does that entail?
So that is a super fight show, just like Fight to Win, okay. or any of those. So it's blue belts and up, 30 fights ish, and gi, no gi, but I want to, so one of my goals for the last few years is to really to make our fundraisers famous. So I'm always trying to find ways to show them off and to make them feel appreciated. And so we just launched a new website, and we have a fundraiser Hall of Fame. So if you've raised over $5,000 for Tap Cancer Out, your name is on there, and our top 4 have like a picture and a little profile.
I just looked at it before we came on.
Yeah, I just want to and I didn't tell them that I was doing that. I stole their pictures from Facebook. But it's another thing. Like, hey, we appreciate you. We recognize you. We have banners at every tournament that have the names of all of these people who are in this Hall of Fame. And, with the showcase, I'm less concerned with, getting a big name to be the headliner, and more concerned with getting people onto these mats and in a super fight, who are fantastic fundraisers of ours and really want to make a difference. So I really don't actually care what happens on the mat. And most people don't care. It's probably just your mom and your teammates and stuff that care. I want the people who want to create impact, and I want to reward them with a really, high value, production value experience. Now, our traditional showcases, have the stage, have the lights, the MC and walkout music, all of that stuff, smoke, VIP tables, that whole thing. We obviously can't do that now. So we've adjusted those events as well to make sure that they're super safe. They're just hosted at local schools, never more than 25 people inside, including all of our staff. So a constant flow of competitors in and out to make sure that they're not inside too long. Everyone is masked except the 2 people who are competing. We have warm-up areas outside, check-in areas outside. So we make sure that it's super safe, or as safe as it possibly can be. I mean, you're still rolling with a stranger on a mat. But
does that stream? Does that event stream?
Yeah, it was streamed for free on Facebook.
Okay.
We our last event had over 10,000 viewers, which is really good for us since we've never streamed before. So I was happy with that. But yeah, so I want to make it free and accessible to everyone. So even in this sort of adjusted style of showcase event, they still feel like, they're being, put under the spotlight, and I want them to feel that way. I fought in Fight to Win just once, but it was a fantastic experience. Hindsight's 2020. I won the match, so that makes me feel a lot better about it, I'm sure. But still, it was just a really cool way. I love my coach, but it's not like he was at every tournament of mine ever. He was in my corner at Fight to Win, of course. But there's plenty of tournaments that I go to where I'm the only one there. No family, no friends, no teammates, no coach, and that's fine. That's why I picked this sport, because I wanted to be able to compete and not have to depend on anybody else. So I would win matches, and you could hear a pin drop. So to be on a stage like that is just like such a foreign experience for us average Joes. But if you're selling tickets, for Fight to Win, they don't really care if you're an average Joe, if you're going to bring in 20 people, whatever. So they had a really good model, and obviously lots of other people have done it, but we wanted to see how that works for Tap Cancer Out and for a fundraising event. So
okay.
It's been fantastic, and it went off well. So we have 4 more left, starting October 24th in Charlotte, then November 7th in Philly, which I also understand is the same day of ADCC trials, but it is what it is. Then we are in November 21st in Massachusetts, and then finally in Baltimore on December 5th. So they'll all be sort of these adjusted events, but we can still host sort of live jiu-jitsu. So we're excited about that.
So John, from inception to now, Tap Cancer Out is an amazing organization. You guys have been able to overcome COVID quite resourcefully, adapting awesomely. Where do you see Tap Cancer Out in the next 5 years? What big expectations, what big milestones, markers are you looking to hit?
Man, I've always hated 5-year plans and things like that, because if you asked me 2 years ago where we would be, I'd never thought that we would be here, or even how successful our 2019 was. The community never ceases to amaze me, and even things like Global Grappling Day, which came from me trying to figure out a way that we could do this thing safely, like a virtual event safely, but that involves everyone. That's going to be a yearly thing for us now. Showcases we can now have in more cities, but showcases were only introduced last year, and it only came because I had a few black belts reach out to me for our Connecticut event and say, hey, I'd love to do a super fight. And I'm like, bro, I have 900 competitors. I don't have time to stop my tournament for a super fight. Then I was like, okay, let me slow down. Let me see if I can figure out an event type that might allow for multiple super fights. And our showcase was born. So, we continually want to expand. I think our 24 tournaments a year is probably around where I want to be. That means half the weekends of the year I'm away from my family and my kids. So I don't want to do any more of that. I see showcases becoming a much bigger thing. We just want to continue to create more and more impact. It's really about, the beneficiaries. This was our first year where we had more than one. We have 9 beneficiaries this year. Of course, we're not giving them what we expected to, but instead of ending our relationship after 1 year and getting new beneficiaries, we're carrying all those relationships over to next year as well. So we'll stick with the same beneficiaries. So we just continue to expand how we are impacting the fight against cancer. So now different cancers, it's both domestic and international. We're working with Cure Cervical Cancer in a program in Africa, and that's just all about training and giving them the equipment to detect cervical cancer earlier, because these emerging and evolving countries that don't have the resources that we have, early detection is significantly harder, and much of the fight in cancer is detecting it early. If you can do that, you have a much better chance of winning. So it's just trying to figure out more and more ways that we can allow the jiu-jitsu community to create that impact. So I just hope that we're doing more of that, and our year-end gifts are bigger and bigger, and we're back to hosting events in the traditional sense.
John, let's go back to the Global Grappling Day. So you said something, did I hear you correctly? Like you're trying to figure out how do you stream this? Like, do you have an idea of how that's going to work? Are you going to stream in certain gyms having...
So it's not going to be sort of coming from us, but we're going to encourage people during that hour to set up their phone and get Instagram Live going and just stream that round. Okay. Make sure you save it down. And I'm going to request all of those videos from people.
Okay.
And we're going to try to cut together maybe a big sort of montage of all the people around the world doing. I'd love to show 2 people grappling and it says, Malaysia. And then the next one says Australia. And then the next one says New York. And, I just want to show that everyone is doing it. Like, I don't care where you do it.
I think Milton's calling me out for that. I think Milton's calling me out for that, man. We got something for December 12th.
Right. One partner, 1 hour, 1 day. And that's what we're going for. And then just leading up to it, helping people try to create the most impact that they can. And then we'll be in December. It's going to be a fun Christmas because we'll be rewarding lots of people with Tap Cancer Out gear. So we'll be getting ready to deploy all of that too. But
that's awesome. I think I'm going to have a conversation here with Junior. He's always asking me, hey, what else could I do? Hey, give me something to do. He's asked me in the past. We got to maybe talk to our coach. We can. I haven't been training, but by December I'll be back. I hurt my knee, so by then I should be able to be back. I figure by the end of September we should probably talk to coach. Yeah. Maybe we could do something at the school. We've obviously got the equipment to do the recording. We have Bo come down, do a nice recording of anyone that's involved, not just us rolling, but maybe the whole group. Let's see what we could do. We'll talk.
Yeah, we've had schools reach out to it, or people sort of representing schools and ask how can we do this on a school level? And we still encourage everyone to set up their own individual fundraising pages, not really to create a team page, because we do want to give each individual person their perks for the effort that they're putting forth. But the best thing that schools can do is basically carve out that day, if they're open, of course, carve out that December 12th, say today is Global Grappling Day, no classes, but you can reserve your hour to have the mats to yourself. So no one else is in here. No one else is bumping into you. Or, if it's a really big mat area, you can safely, divide it in half or into fourths or something, and just make sure everyone is safely socially distant. And then people stick with their one partner and roll for an hour. And you say, I got the 10 a.m. block, I got the 11 a.m. block, and so on and so forth. And then
I'm thinking it has to be all at the same time. It could be any time that day.
It could be any time. Sure.
All right. That's smart.
John, what expectations did you have from the jiu-jitsu community in bringing this to them, or bringing this to us, I guess, right? Tap Cancer Out.
The Global Grappling Day?
Well, no. Just the concept of Tap Cancer Out and them having a purpose.
I could say. Let me throw a little part in there. I always say there's no money in jiu-jitsu. And we've been pleasantly surprised by the support that we've gotten and the support that we get for the foundation where we do the scholarship for kids. So, I have a T-shirt website for the podcast. And again, I'm always saying, there's no money in jiu-jitsu. You're not getting rich off jiu-jitsu, but go ahead. Give me your take.
Yeah, I mean, that in the beginning of this, that was very true. But, there's tons of nonprofits that are event-based, and sort of whatever the event is irrelevant. So whether it's a golf tournament, a beer pong tournament, a jiu-jitsu tournament, hockey, the activity is irrelevant. It's just the trying to get the people involved to fundraise. Now, the great thing about events like this is there's very few opportunities to make an impact through something you're passionate about. I said my wife and I ran the Hartford Half Marathon. My wife had never run more than a mile when we started training for that, and neither of us like running. But what else are we going to do? Swim across the Sound? I can't do that. Unless you ride a bike, do the bike rides, the pan cycling challenges. It's hard to find something within your passion. My passion was volleyball. My wife played collegiately as well, but we couldn't fundraise through volleyball. So being able to do it through jiu-jitsu, through something you're passionate about, I knew that it would be effective if we could figure out the right kind of model. Because if you're because people were so passionate about jiu-jitsu that if they were able to parlay that passion and also create impact, you know, it was a no-brainer. So then it was just about making sure that we hosted an event that was awesome, that was high production value. You know, I didn't want people waiting 4 hours for their division, not knowing where they're going, you know, just sort of typical chaotic amateur jiu-jitsu tournament. I had no patience for that whatsoever. We were going to be on time, if not early. People were going to know where they were going. I fly in someone from Canada for every single tournament just because she's our bracketing queen and she knows how to do all of that. And so she does that. And that's worth the investment hand over fist because she makes sure everything is on time. You know, I don't hire the referees. I have a head referee to do that because I don't know anything about reffing. You know, just because I'm a black belt, please don't put me out there on that mat. I'll screw up every match. So, you know, I hire the right people to make sure that we're putting on an amazing event. So when people come and then leave, they say, not only did we do something that made us feel good, you know, do a sport that we love, fundraise and make us feel good and make an impact in the fight against cancer, but that was like a great event, you know, that was fun. It was on time. We were in and out or whatever, or we hung out the whole day and it was great. And so next time, they're recruiting people, and it's just a lot of word of mouth. You know, word of mouth in jiu-jitsu travels a lot if your event is good or bad. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to make sure our event was really, really good. And because when you think of charity, you think cheap. And like if you're you know, like my wife played volleyball, you know, if somebody asked her to be in like a charity volleyball tournament, she immediately is like, I don't want anything to do with that. You know, like it's going to be, people are going to be like this, and it's going to be an awful experience. So, you know, charity basketball tournament, everyone's double dribbling. So I didn't want them to hear charity jiu-jitsu tournament and think we were just like, you know, doing what we did at our first event, which is roll out rented wrestling mats and stuff. Like, I invested in all of the infrastructure to make sure that it's a really, really good event. We take massive pride in that. You know, I make sure the people in my core team that are close to me are reliable, and I can trust them, and they've been with me for a long time. And so that's super important in, you know, all of our methods and protocols and everything. We just want to put on a great event. We knew if we did that, the fundraising, you know, the people, more and more people coming every year, that would just sort of be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we just focus, we consider ourselves more of an event company than a nonprofit. Like, the fundraising stuff just happens. And we help, we send out emails and have all of this information to help people fundraise, but we're really just focused on putting on the best damn jiu-jitsu tournament possible. And the competitors do all the fundraising and impact making. So like, we're a team together. It's us, the people hosting the event, and the competitors, the people who are fundraising and really making the impact. I only fundraise once a year. So it's all these other people making the impact.
Here's a personal question for you. Have you gotten, you've spoken several times about your wife. Have you gotten her to feel the pains and injuries of a jiu-jitsu player? Does she know what that's like? Have you gotten her on the mats yet?
Not even close. Not even close.
You haven't pulled that.
She'll never train.
That's it.
She'll never train. But just her, you know, accepting a position in a company that I run that is jiu-jitsu focused is good enough for me.
Okay.
And yeah, she's our VP of marketing and operations. So she also comes from the agency world and specifically the event marketing world. So she was our guru in getting the showcase off the ground. And, you know, finding where you get a stage from, where do you get light people from? Like, I don't know any of that stuff. So she knew all that stuff. And then we were able to bring her on full time. And that's good enough. That's more jiu-jitsu exposure than she needs.
But that'd probably be a better training opportunity than the Peloton. Having a wife train jiu-jitsu at the house.
It would, but I'm telling you, that ship has sailed. I can't even see it in the horizon. It's gone. You know, Dave, my other employee, he's a blue belt, you know, nearly a purple belt. He's awesome. You know, we have super even roles. So he's my guy. That's all I need.
So let's go back to, by the way, I have a similar story here with my wife. She'll never get on the mat.
I do too.
Right.
I do too, so no worries.
I've tried. I even bought her a gi. She looked cute in it, but we never rolled. So let me actually going back to that first conversation with your wife when you came back from that event from Classy, right? You went to that award show, right? What is that first conversation with your wife like? Did she look at you like you had four heads, or was it like, what are you talking about?
No,
or did she completely buy in from the beginning?
She was bought in from the beginning. And she was the one that was with me at that first MMA show where we didn't really sell anything. And she's been with me along the way. She's always believed in me, which has been super important because this was a slow burn. I didn't go full-time tap cancer out until 2018, until the middle of 2018 . So I've only been a full-time. I came up with the idea in 2010. Okay. So, that's 8 years of tap cancer out being my side hustle. And what I really appreciate about her was understanding that, and even after we had kids and stuff, we have 2 now. And before I was full-time in tap cancer out, we would come home from work and deal with the kids. And then I was right onto my laptop and working on tap cancer out until, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, because that's the only time I could work on it. And I was using almost all of my vacation time to host these events. Every weekend that we have an event, I got to take that Friday off to go like rent a truck and do all that stuff. And then I'm back into work on Monday without anyone even knowing what I did that weekend or what we accomplished. And, people yelling at me again. So, she was very understanding with how much I had to pour into the work, on late nights and weekends to turn this into something bigger. And then we eventually got to the point where it's like, okay, this model works. If we add more events, we will have more revenue. We just had to figure out sort of how to take it on tour, have a tournament every weekend versus the original hub and spoke model, which was, we have one in Boston. So I rent a truck, we get stuff out of storage, drive there, host the tournament, come home, return the truck. Then 2 months later, we have another one in Philly, and then we do it all over again. We needed to get our own truck, our own trailer, all that sort of stuff. But if we invested in that, and we had wonderful support from some private donors and grant funders, and Starbucks gave us a $25,000 grant, which allowed us to buy the trailer, which was absolutely huge. And so we sort of figured out how we could, have at least 10 or 11 events, and that could support a single person salary, to be just a small portion of our entire revenue. And then we just kept going, and she's been great and supportive all along the way. And we did work together before this. We spent some time at the same agency, so we had the experience of working together, which people think is sort of a very dangerous thing. But on the contrary, it's kind of easy. And finally I have an employee where I can yell at her about something and she can yell at me and be like, what are you doing right now? I'm doing what you told me to do. Like, what, where like with a typical employee, you have to be cordial and be like, just 1 second. We're just like barking at each other, but it's fine because we get stuff done. And like, I trust her and I want her to give me ideas, and, there's no bad idea here. So she's been fantastic.
So we talked about this a little bit. I gave you a little bit of heads up before we came on today. We wanted to award our second youth scholarship through our Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Foundation, and having you here, we always knew we wanted to talk to you guys. I thought that this was the perfect opportunity to also award our second scholarship to somebody who's worked with you guys. Her name is Gemma Fiorenza. Woo! Gemma, you're hearing this for the first time if your dad didn't ruin the surprise. So I spoke to her dad, Ray. We talked a little bit this week.
Yep.
And they are going to accept that scholarship.
That's awesome.
So we'll be paying for her jiu-jitsu for the next year. Starting in, this is September, October, will be our first time that we'll take care of her tuition. We're also going to send her some some gear. She's been a supporter, so she's already been walking around with our rash guard. I understand she might need a new one, so we're going to send her out some cool gear. But I thought it was really great to have you here. I know that her mom has been battling prostate cancer, and she's been raising money for quite some time. When I mentioned her name, you said that you knew who you know of her, or do you know her personally?
I know of her. It's just sort of a name that you can't forget. I did quickly look up what she's raised over $800 for us. She's competed for us 3 different times, or at least 2 different times, and was registered this year as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we appreciate her.
Does she still have? Is that always open? It's open right now, so people can still donate to her.
It is.
Okay, so we're going to make sure we put that on the screen here today. We're going to put it in the description on the podcast, and we're going to make sure that we move that number. We're going to move that needle a little bit. So, cool. So congratulations, Gemma. We're going to be reaching out to you. Hopefully, your dad. You're probably, if you're hearing this right now, you're probably going to look over at your dad and notice that he's been secretly recording you, because we wanted to get your reaction. So we invite you on the podcast one day. We'd love to see you on the screen like John here, and just think that you're awesome. Thank you for supporting the podcast, but more importantly, thank you for supporting Tap Cancer Out and what you're doing for your mom. So we love you, and we're going to talk to you guys soon. So thank you. But again, John, listen, thank you for joining us today. Do you have any shout outs? I don't know if you had quite a list there, but would you like to mention your beneficiaries or just give shout outs to anybody? We've already talked about your wife, but is there anybody special out there that you want to say hello to or give a quick thank you?
A quick thank you just to the Tap Cancer Out core team. They know who they are. I do want to read off our beneficiaries. I had to look them up because I can never remember them. Of course, Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. We've worked with them. This is now our 3rd year working with them, and we'll work with them again next year. It'll be our 4th. We've given them more than $1.3 million.
Wow.
And have funded dozens of grants with them, and hundreds of thousands of dollars for their Travel for Care program, which literally, funds the travel that families need to get the pediatric cancer treatment for their kids.
So research grants, correct? Right? You're helping with doctors that are doing research. They actually can apply for a grant.
Yeah. Okay. So they apply through Alex's, and that people like researchers or doctors wouldn't apply through us. They would go through our beneficiaries. But yes, we then fund these specific grants, and then a lot of them get named as Tap Cancer Out grants, which is really cool, because then when news gets published about them later, we get the shout out. We just had one of our research grants published that's being done at Harvard, I believe, or at least published by Harvard. Had some great results. Awesome. We linked to it on our Facebook page a little while back, but that's really cool. So yeah, Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation, American Brain Tumor Association, American Cancer Society, Breast Cancer Alliance, Camp Sunshine, which is a wonderful place in Maine for not only cancer families that are dealing with pediatric cancer, but other pediatric life-threatening diseases. Colon Cancer Alliance, Conquer Cancer, which funds a variety of different cancer grants. Cure Cervical Cancer that I mentioned earlier, which is our international program support. And then First Descents, which is for cancer survivors, allowing them to do sort of outdoor adventure activities, which is really cool as well. So we're working with all of those this year and next year. And it obviously depends on how many events that we can host as to how much impact we can create with them. But we always love working with them, and we continue to look for more beneficiaries to work with in the future. And anyone who wants to be a beneficiary can apply through our website, or at least drop us a note and let us know. And we'll contact them when applications open. But a lot of great relationships and a lot of widespread impact in the cancer community, which is sort of what our goal has been from day one.
So people can go right now to Tap Cancer Out. Let's say they're not a competitor. My mom's listening and she decides she wants to give you $50. She can go to your website now and she can click on the donation. I believe it's on the top right-hand corner of the website, and just make a one-time donation, or can do a recurring, right? They don't have to be a competitor. They don't even have to love jiu-jitsu, but they can go ahead and donate right now, correct?
Anyone can, absolutely. Anyone can go to the website and donate. You can even donate straight from our Facebook page as well. There's a donate button there, and Facebook doesn't take any fees, so 100% of your donation goes to us. So awesome. That's really great. We actually just launched this website. I'm not here to plug it or anything.
No,
I don't know how many people care to look through web. But one of the most important things was there's an area called Our Impact, And that was like the cornerstone of this website. And what we wanted to do is to show how we have a dual impact. A lot of people look at our impact in terms of how much cancer funding we support, which is wonderful. And so if you go to our impact, there's two sides, and you click on beneficiaries, you'll see all of the gifts we've ever given. There's an interactive map, so you can see where all of the different research grants that we've funded are around the country. But there's also another side called the BJJ community. You know, people don't think much about just how our events specifically, you know, allow people to celebrate, cope, you know, remember the people that they've lost. We've had people break down and cry right there on the mats, you know, after they won a match, because, you know, a husband who lost his wife and it was his first gold ever. And, you know, people take our medals to gravestones, or, you know, give them to people battling cancer. And so, you know, it's a lot more than just, you know, what we ultimately fund in cancer research and family support, which is obviously very important. But I love also just the effect that it can have on the lives of the people who take part in it, and what it makes them feel when they can create impact, and how it allows them to have these conversations. It's not easy to just talk about how cancer has affected your life. You don't bring it up at dinner or at a party or like on your Tinder date or something like, oh yeah, you know, this happened to me. So, but this is a way for you to tell those stories, and you don't have to keep them inside. And so I wanted to show that effect as well, and sort of what you know, the events aren't just a cost center. You know, they themselves are you know, give something to the BJJ competitors themselves, and then also, you know, we're creating impact in cancer research as well. So I invite you to look at those two different sections and really see how we impact this fight against cancer in the lives of the jiu-jitsu competitors. And finally, you know, I know I'm a little long-winded here, but we're super transparent. You know, we're super transparent about everything. That was really important to me as well. You know, I had a lot of skepticism about nonprofits before I did this. I didn't really like donating money. You know, I liked, you know, I felt good if you gave stuff to like Goodwill, but I was always afraid to just donate money because I didn't know where it was going. But obviously I have a different perspective on that now. And I want to make sure that everyone else understands that, you know, I get all of that. And so we're super transparent about everything. There's a financial section of our website where you can see all of our annual reports. We just published a 2019 annual report. We're nearly done. So we had to file for an extension for our official tax returns from last year because we're getting audited for the first time, which is always fun, but very necessary. And so we have to go through the audit first. So we're dealing with that. So that should be done soon as well. But you can literally see where every single dollar goes to. So not only what is given to our beneficiaries, but how we spend the other money as well, you know, on our infrastructure and our staff, and allowing us to continue to grow and invest in the company so that we can host more events and create more widespread impact and things like that. So if you're ever concerned or curious about where our money goes, we have all of that information for you. And awesome. I'm always available to answer any questions you may have as well.
Hey, John, before we go, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you. Because of your nephew, Michael, and through your hard work and efforts, right, his memory lives on. You've created something amazing for this world that, you know, because of him, for the short amount of time that he was here, has been significantly impactful. So thank you, man. Great job.
Thank you for joining us today, man. We very much appreciate it. If there's anything we can ever do, you guys want to come on and make an announcement, or you have anything going on. Bo, I think is my mic? We're good. If you ever have anything going on that you'd like us to announce, you know, just reach out. You know, whether it's coming back on or you know, we can put out some information for you. We'd be happy to do it. So please use us as a sounding board if and when you have something going on that you want to get out to the masses.
Will do.
But thank you for joining us. John. We're going to let you go. We appreciate it again, and we'll see you next time.
Be good, brother. Safe.
Take care, man.
Take it easy.
Take care.
Take it easy.
All right, guys. That was amazing,
that was
man.
a good
Huh?
episode,
That's wow. That's a lot going on. It's amazing. You know, I didn't really fully understand that it's the tournament system, right? The tournament system is raising the money.
With something really good, man. He came up with something.
At the end about, you know, kind of it came together when he kind of said, well, I'm only raising money once a year, right?
Yeah.
It's people coming to the tournaments. You raise this money. I mean, it's a brilliant business model, and it's a great way of doing it. It's hard to be over there. You know, I'm getting a little taste of that myself. Like, hey, donate to the foundation, and you got to put it on your Facebook all the time. You know, you've got your essentially ambassadors, your competitors.
You have to create something tangible for people to strive towards, and being on the mat competing is probably one of those things, right?
That's amazing, man. He's
great job.
Amazing dude, amazing organization. Please get out there again, tapcancerout.org. The donate button's right there at the top right-hand corner. You know, look,
well, hey man, as long as we're talking about, you know, let's before we wrap up on
we got a little bit stick with us, guys. We got a few things, but go ahead.
When you think about COVID, right, and what it's done, it just brings out the resourcefulness of people, right?
Yeah.
So continue doing what you're doing, right, to create a good thing.
I've been telling my wife, you know, we've been, you know, COVID hasn't had, luckily, knock on wood, hasn't had the effect on us as it has on many. I was able to work from home. She's considered essential, so she's been going to work. But, you know, I told her, look, we're good people. We're you know, good. This is a crazy time, but if you're a good person, you're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
You look out for other people. I really believe in that whole, you know, that the karma of being good. You're going to be okay. This is a crazy freaking time. You know, an organization like his, they could have easily, any of the other tournament systems that are having problems and only able to have, you know, 50 competitors and what have you, a lot of they're in trouble. You know, it's rough. I know, talking to people, you know, when they're talking about sponsoring the show, nobody wants to spend any money. Nobody is, forget about wanting to, is really able to come in with big money to support organizations. But, you know, we talked to him, Weedify.
Yeah.
Weedify, which we'll shout out now. Weedify they've raised, and I want to make sure, I'm not going to quote anybody, but I believe they've raised, you're an ambassador, you get the emails, right? They've raised just as much money at this point this year as they did all of last year. Is that, am I?
I'm not absolutely sure.
It's either at or close. I believe it's more money this year than they did all of last year. You know, so I don't know, they're doing well. People are still giving.
Well, yeah, when you have a good cause and a good purpose, people will see that.
Yeah.
Right.
Amazing. So I invite you to come with me to do Global Grappling Day.
You invite me or you challenge me? Are you challenging me?
No, it's a flow roll, brother. We're just going to flow.
45 minutes of flow?
We're just going to flow, you know. I promise you that I won't. We're going to do gi or no gi?
Challenge accepted.
Are we doing gi or no gi?
We'll
I guess we can
have
an hour. Okay, so I promise you I won't wear my wet T-shirt. I'll wear a rash guard. I won't wear my wet T-shirt. But I really think, look, you legitimately have told me, hey, let me know what I could do out there.
Let's do it.
I haven't been in the gym, but maybe we drop this in Coach's lap and say, hey, we'd like to do this here. I can't see anybody go, no, don't want to do it. But maybe talk to Coach. We'll put him on the spot. We're going to go talk to our coach at Fight Sports Coral Springs. And maybe we do, they do open mat on Saturdays. I don't know what the dynamics are going to be with the distancing. Like, I'm not sure we want to even really talk about that. I don't know what the rules are right now, and I don't know what the rules will be in December.
Yeah. Well, we could set up brackets the way he was saying, hourly brackets, right?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Well, sign up now, right?
Yeah.
And reserve your spot, 9 to 10, 10 to 11.
And maybe I can get Bo to come out and at least maybe, you know, record a couple hours. Like if we were doing a podcast, we do that instead that day. Maybe we figure out how to turn that into a little bit of a podcast, but that we can deliver some content, like he said, deliver some footage.
Yeah. How long did he say?
How long did he say?
Is it a whole day? How many? Just 1 hour, right?
It's one day, but it's global. Yeah. So you just pick the hour. I mean, you're just picking the hour with your partner. Yeah. And you're going to record it, and then you're going to send them the footage.
We can set up a 12-hour window, potentially. We'll see. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know if Bo can do 12 hours, but
we can individually record.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
All
right.
We agree? A virtual handshake here, right?
Yes.
Fist bump, whatever. All right. So we talked about Weedify. You know, we just want to thank them for all they do. You know, hearing John talk about Tap Cancer Out gives me a whole new respect for people that are raising money. You know, the things that they're doing, to understand like how hard 8 years before you can, you know, I know what it's like to come home from work to work on your side hustle or your other thing. 8 years is a long time, and I know that could be like a burden on the family and just
Well, that's what it takes, man. That's what it takes sometimes, right?
So a huge shout out to the guys at We Defy. Thank you for your support of the podcast. Thank you for the way that you're supporting the veteran and the jiu-jitsu community. And like I always say, for those of you who don't know, please go check them out at wedefyfoundation.org. You can donate there as well. And so that you fully understand that they provide... Oh, we got to get our scroll back. I'm sorry to step on my little shout out there. What happened there? They provide therapeutic relief to disabled combat veterans through jiu-jitsu. All right. So again, check them out at We Defy Foundation on Instagram. And again, you can go donate now on the website at wedefyfoundation.org. Okay. I wanted to do one little thing. I know we call it housekeeping, but look, we're always giving stuff away. One of the things that, I don't know what your take is going to be on this, but, I started watching the news yesterday and these projections with flu season coming. I'm kind of curious what it's going to look like for schools. I'm not setting you up for anything. No, you look like you feel like you're getting set up. No, I mean, have you kind of seen the news? I know you don't have necessarily the same leanings as I do, but the numbers that are projected, and I understand that it's not just COVID numbers. They're putting together the flu numbers with the COVID numbers. With that coming, what's going to happen to schools, and are they going to have to close? Like, what's going to happen in our world, specifically in the jiu-jitsu world? Do you have a take on that?
I don't. No. Not right now. Yeah. Not that I can openly discuss.
You don't want to get you don't want to get yourself in trouble.
No.
Okay.
We'll talk off mic.
All right. All right. So I'm going to say this. We've been giving out little marketing tips. We were doing 1 minute marketing tip videos for a little bit there. I'm going to say this. The flu season's coming. If you're a gym owner, do yourself a favor and if you can, make arrangements to do Zoom classes, to be doing something remotely. You have a warning this time. Flu season's coming every year.
Well, here's what I can tell you.
You've got to know, with the two things combined, you need to prepare yourself for what's about to come. Now, if you're prepared and you don't have to use it, thumbs up, right? If you're unprepared and you have to shut down your school and your students can't, interact with you and they go sign on to somebody else's Zoom or take classes someplace else, you're going to be in trouble. This all hit us by surprise, but at least with the regular flu season coming, we have a little bit of a warning here. So that's my advice. That's my little 1 minute marketing tip for this week.
Let me touch on that because you're talking directly to gym owners, right? And I'll talk more individually towards people.
Students?
Towards students.
Okay.
Maintain a healthy lifestyle. Mm-hmm. That is the most important thing, right? Don't be home all day doing nothing. Mm-hmm. Don't be home all day laying on the couch, laying in bed. The kids especially, right? Don't
look at this like a 6-month vacation because that's what it's been, right?
They're not doing any movement from classes. In between classes, at least you get to walk. You got 5 minutes to walk. You got, exercise in school. Some kids.
We make my daughter, she takes the dog out for a walk when school's over. Every day, once a day.
You got to be moving, man. We got to keep these kids active because this is where problems are going to develop, right? So take advantage of the time that you have.
But, again, I'll say you have an opportunity. There's a warning this time. We know the flu season's coming every year, and now that coupled with COVID, be prepared. Mm-hmm. It pains me when I hear that a gym closed or they're, is it Coyoterra?
We had a local.
Coyoterra had to close down his gym in California. At least he said for 45 days. I mean, that's a really big name in our world.
Closer to home. GFT up in Boca, right?
Really?
Drew's gym. Drew Phoenix's gym, right?
Are they in Boca,
shout out to Drew on your black belt, brother. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Congratulations.
So they just closed. They had to close their doors. Because they were not doing much.
Is it Boca or is it Fort Lauderdale? It's Drew's gym, his home gym.
Del Rey or something. I can't. But regardless, they had to close their doors too. So, that's tough. Wow. It's tough.
They were We Defy ambassadors over there as well. That was a We Defy gym.
Yeah.
And then Mission 22 gym, right?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, don't get caught with your pants down this time. We've got tons and tons of notice on this one. So let me continue here. A big thank you, as always, to Fight Back CBD. use code JJD for 15% off your order at fightbackcbd.com. Another guy doing great things, right?
For sure.
He's helping people with substance abuse issues and mental issues find jiu-jitsu. He's another one paying for their school. He'll get you a gi. He'll find you a school. So support them as well. I take that CBD. I mentioned when he was on, or actually on the last podcast, we were talking about CBD, and the the thing that it helped me with the most out of the gate was I used to have acid reflux. CBD, 2 days, I stopped taking all of my pills.
There you go.
Pretty much immediately. I'm the guy that walked around with Tums, so didn't expect that to be. It was more about my inflammation in my joints, and for whatever reason, it's helped with that. So check them out again. Fightbackcbd.com. Use code JJD for 15% off your order. So our newest sponsor, Warbar Soap. You can get 25% off your order with code JJD at warbarsoap.com. So guys, this soap is amazing. That big bar that you just held up there is the Forerunner. They also have the Chaos, and I think they're launching like 2 or 3 other bars. What's really cool, right? Number one, if you buy the gift pack, you get the wood soap dish below that. And you can actually take that bar and it's a pretty big bar. You're like, wow, this is probably the biggest bar I'd have in the shower. So you can split it in half. You can cut it in half, and you've got 2 bars of soap. Smells amazing. Okay, again, I haven't been training right now, but I did use the one that they sent me.
You are taking showers,
it's amazing.
right?
I am,
you are taking showers?
I am taking showers, so it's amazing. The smell is great. The whole bathroom smelled like the bar of soap, which is kind of new. It had that really powerful smell in such a good way. So, highly suggest you check them out. They've got again the Forerunner, the Chaos, and if you follow their IG at Warbar Soap, you can actually. They're actively launching some of the new bars.
I got to throw that in a soap dish, man. But like you said, I'm going to have to break it in half, right? Put in a soap dish for the review.
Yeah, we're gonna get you some. These are for the set, but we're gonna get hopefully get a few bars, and I'll let you guys come back. And I know you only shower once a week, but do the day before, Friday, the Friday before. All right, so we're also doing something really cool with them. We're recording on a Saturday. This will air next week. But we've actually been giving away, at this point, we'll be in the middle of the second giveaway. We're giving away 1 bar a week. We've got a nice little Instagram giveaway running with them. So go to our IG at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies or at Warbar Soap. Find one of the giveaway. It very clearly says giveaway in the graphic. Find that. Do what it says. You can win a War Bar. We're giving away a total of, I think there's actually like 5 Saturdays in September, so I believe we're going to do 5 bars. They gave us a couple of bars to give away on the last episode, which we're going to get out to some of our listeners as well. All right, so check it out. It's pretty simple to opt into that giveaway. All right, so Junior, you've been on me since we started this podcast. Try to embarrass me, actually.
Uh-oh.
You tried to embarrass me.
Here it comes. You got some dirt on me. You
tried to embarrass me into kicking up our podcast percentage code discount. So I actually did it.
My man.
So we went to 15%.
That's what I'm talking about.
I couldn't let you get the best of me.
Jiu-jitsu shirts.
Yep, we've been putting out. We're actually now really putting out some really cool designs. We just did a nice one. It says like Drama Queen, then Drama Queen is crossed out and it says Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice.
Jiu-Jitsu Queen on it. We did some mugs as well. So go check that out. But you can get 15% off your order at jujitsudummies.shop. You can still get there from the .com. Just click the shop tab. But if you go to jujitsudummies.shop, use code JJD for 15% off your order at checkout. We're adding new rash guards. We have face shields, backpacks, coffee mugs, and we're doing actively putting on new shirts, including one that I did for you, the National Wash Your Belt Foundation.
Keep a lookout. Right? Keep a lookout, folks. Keep a lookout. We're going to try to get this discount special junior shirt 20% off. Let's see if we can make that happen.
All right,
put that. Leave a comment.
You got to give me a good idea.
Subscribe.
For all
hit the bell. Leave a comment.
For all you dirty jiu-jitsu players out there who don't wash their belts, we're going to make a shirt for you as well.
Haters going to hate.
Okay.
Ainers going to hate.
We're going to actually run it through the mud before we ship it out to them. So
there you go.
We are also brought to you by JJD Podcast Consulting. That's essentially me and Bo. We'll give you some advice on your podcast. We've actually got a package on Patreon where somebody can actually purchase like hours to talk to us. But if you ask us a question online or you want to touch base, we're more than happy to give you the information for free. But if you need somebody there to actually kind of constantly, be part of your podcast and tell you what to do, we've done some really cool things. We made a few mistakes here and there. So if you want to learn from how we did it or how we did it, period, let us know. Okay. Anyone out there that would like to work with us, sponsor the show, donate product, check us out everywhere at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Literally everywhere. Shoot us an email at info@jiu-jitsudummies.com as well. We'll answer any questions you have. If you go to the contact page on the website, I added something. There's 2 forms. You can suggest on the first form, you can suggest somebody you want to see on the show. Maybe it's your professor, maybe somebody famous you'd like to see. But we're also going to let you send us your foundation scholarship nominees.
Okay.
So you can nominate somebody. Again, we pretty much when we say kid or youth in jiu-jitsu, it's up to 16 usually, right? Because then you're considered an adult at 16 and you're a blue belt. So that's not our official, that's not like a law. It's the unwritten rule that could change if we see something spectacular going on. But you can suggest through that form. On the website, there's a form on the left hand side of the page. Again, it's suggest guests or scholarship nominees. And then on the other side, general questions, or if you want to sponsor the show, we'll send you out a sponsorship kit. Okay, so we'd also like to thank Flow and Roll. Flow and Roll, definitely, they sent me that belt. They gave us the idea for doing the perks. So if you donate $50, you're getting a belt just like that from Flow and Roll.
Embroidered with your name on it.
Embroidered belt. They've been great about, if you want to put a longer name than just your name again. Super
Don't
Dave,
wash your belt. That's what I'm putting, Junior. Don't wash your belt.
We sent one for Justin for his professor, and we wrote he had Sinister BJJ, the name of his school written on it. So something like that, right? Okay. So go check them out at Flow. Let me kind of spell it out. So at Flow_N_roll on Instagram, or you can go to flowandroll.com. Use code JJD at checkout for 20% off your online order. But remember, I'm always telling you, check out their IG because he does a lot of custom work. That's his thing. So, like, if you have a team, a logo, a school, whatever if you want to buy in bulk and you want to have something designed just specifically for you and your team, he's the guy to do it. He's awesome, and he bends over backwards to make it happen exactly the way that you want. So, if you'd like to support the show, visit our Patreon. It is patreon.com/Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. We do 2 drawings every month of about $100 or more of Jiu-Jitsu swag. So it could be a gift card to the store, at the podcast store, or we might send you a gi. We actually let you choose. So we're a little bit behind, but this weekend with the holiday here, I'm going to be able to sit down and award the last couple of months, including we'll get right up to August. Same thing with listener questions. We're going to get those out as well. So shout out to our podcast patrons, Robert Walker, that's Bridger's dad, Frank House, Liam Berg, Wolseley Rivera, Boa Athletics. You can check them out at Boa_Athletics for some really cool t-shirts as well. Michael Pixley Jr., Jason Smiley, Eric Perkins, Britt Tavar. Actually spoke to her.
Nice.
Got the pronunciation of her last name. Britt Tavar. James Fisher, CJ Carroll, Mission 22, Chuck Reddoor, and Roberto Santiago. That's you've trained with Roberto.
It's been a while since I've seen those guys. The whole COVID thing's messed some stuff up. But.
Okay. One final shout out. I've mentioned him a few times. I can't mention him enough. Dave from at High Road BJJ and at High Road Revolution. He's been donating to the show. He's been donating to the GoFundMe, and we very much appreciate all that he's done. He's also going to be, I don't know if it's the first time you're hearing this, but he's also going to give us one of our September Patreon packages. He's going to either give away a package or fund that particular, or at least one of the drawings.
Dave's a great guy, man.
Yeah, really cool. And lastly, please, have you done this yet? Amazon Smile. Have you done it yet, Bo?
Put people on the spot.
Why are you nodding your head no?
Put people on the spot.
I don't go online.
You don't go online?
I just sit in the corner and then I do podcasts.
So you can go onto your Amazon, just go into your account. If you go to settings, you can see like Amazon Smile. If you don't, you have to just log in through a computer, not through your phone. But you can just go in, just search like you would search for a product. Search Amazon Smile. It'll come up. Just follow the prompts. It's very easy. You're not changing anything about your Amazon experience. All you're doing is picking a charity. Hopefully, you're going to choose the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Foundation. And you're able to, they will actually donate a portion of every purchase to the foundation. So it's a really awesome way to participate. I shop on Amazon a lot.
I do too.
My whole family has made the switch, so I thank everybody that knows me. But we've actually had some people that have messaged me like, "Hey, I put out the instructions," and they say, "Done, did it." Miguel, one of our co-hosts as well, he sends me a message every time he buys something now. Hey.
Shout out to Miguel.
Something I don't want. Yeah, shout out to Miguel. He should hopefully be here with us on the next podcast.
He couldn't buy enough flowers for his wife to come out to the show today. So.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He takes care of that. He takes care of his family really well. He very much cherishes his family time. So, so you can catch me at Uncle Milty BJJ on IG, and you can catch this man
J Vega Jr. Junior spelled out JUNIOR.
And you can check out the foundation at the JJD Foundation on Instagram. At the JJ Dummies FDN on Twitter. And again, the GoFundMe is in the description, but it's GoFundMe.com/F/Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. So continue to support us so that we can do lots of
cool stuff.
Yeah, man, I would love to be able to do one scholarship a month. But you got to figure it's going to be about $2,000 to $2,500 per student with the gear, cost of running, the other costs that go along with it.
Karma's a bee, but she'll come in, she'll help us out.
Yeah, figure about $2,500. So we're a little bit below. Our threshold, but I see that it's working. I see that it's coming. I will personally, or at least the podcast itself, will cover any additional fees. But we're gonna, again, start in October. We'll have both Bridger and Gemma. Congratulations! We'll have Gemma.
Super
Bridger and Gemma
for her.
are our first two, and they'll be able to kind of spread the word for us as well. Yeah. So, all right, that's all I got. You want to say anything?
High five. Virtual high five.
Yeah. Woohoo. Thank you for coming out, brother.
My pleasure, man, as always.
I know you were tired. How was that nap before you
Man,
came
it was
through?
good. I hit the spot, man.
Feel good? Good. I'm glad.
Probably going to hit another one right now.
Even though he made us late. So take care, everyone. Thank you for watching and listening.
Train hard. Don't wash your belly.
Stay safe. Us. Woo!